Just like any biblical passage, there's always going to be various interpretations. Some scholars say that the sons of God here may refer to a different race of humans. However, it seems that the majority of modern scholars, and more importantly, ancient scholars, view the sons of God here as referring to angelic beings. Why is that? Well, remember the story of Job. Job was a righteous man, and he had favor with God. And so Satan wanted to test Job's faith and harm him. But in order for Satan to do that, he had to first ask God for permission. Look at how it reads, Job 1:6. It says that the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came with them. So here in this scene, we see that the angels, they came before God, and Satan also came with them, and then began to ask God if he could attack Job. So the interesting thing here is that these angelic beings are being referred to as the sons of God. And so that's one reason why some scholars would say that the sons of God in Genesis 6 refers to angelic spiritual beings. And specifically in Genesis 6, the fallen angels who chose to follow Satan. Now again, according to ancient Jewish literature found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, such as the Book of Enoch, the fallen angels who chose to impregnate human women were immediately punished by God and were chained and placed in prison in the darkest region of hell for doing that. And they were placed in a region of hell called Tartarus. And so it's quite an interesting narrative. And so the question we have to ask ourselves is there anything in the Bible that says that the angels who sinned with these women were chained up and placed in Tartarus? Is there anything in the Bible that mentions that? Well, actually, the Apostle Peter alludes to something similar in one of his letters. Look at how it reads in 2 Peter 2:4. So here Peter is talking about the judgment of God. And here he says regarding the angels, he says, God did not spare the angels when they sinned, but sent them to hell, putting them in chains of darkness to be held for judgment, but sent them to hell. Now, I always say that whenever you come across the word hell in either the New Testament or the Old Testament, because of modern translations, you really have to investigate the Greek and Hebrew word that was translated into the English word hell. And one of the reasons is because the word hell is translated from many different words. In the New Testament, it's translated from the word Hades. Sometimes you'll see the word hell translated from the word Gehenna. Sometimes it is translated from the word Tartaro. And these are three different things. And so we want to look here to see what is the Greek word behind this translation of hell. And to do so, we're just going to go to tools here. And we see that it says that if God did not spare the angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell, and the Greek word used there is Tartaro. What is Tartaro? The deepest abyss of hell. Tartaro refers to the deepest abyss of Hades. In the Greek, it is often referred to as the abode of the wicked dead. And so, being the deepest abyss of Hades, we see that Tartaro is not just Hades. It's not just hell. Tartaro is the darkest, probably the most painful region of Hades. And that's where the angels who sinned were chained and sent to. The Greek word Tartarus, held there for Judgment Day. So pretty scary stuff. And so when it says that they were placed there to await Judgment Day in chains, some scholars note that perhaps the great sin that they committed was when they saw the daughters of humans and married them, and then produced these Nephilim. And so those who have a literal reading of the Genesis 6 account will likely say that yes, some of these fallen angels committed a sin that allowed them to be placed in chains of darkness until Judgment Day. But what about the other fallen angels who are not locked up in Tartarus? Where are they at? We know that Satan is not locked up yet, because we know that he and his crew were still able to approach God and ask God for permission to attack Job. Satan was seen in the heavens with the sons of God, and that was after the Genesis 6 account. So it seems as if Satan and his crew are still around. Now, one could say, and some do say this, one could say that perhaps when Jesus ascended to heaven, Satan was then locked away and chained up at that point. Some have made that point, and I understand that. However, you still do have theologians who would counter that and argue that, well, even after Christ ascended, the Apostle Paul still said that Satan and the powers of darkness are where? In heavenly places. And so seemingly, even after the ascension of Christ, Paul is saying that we still war against cosmic powers in high places in the heavenlies. That seems to indicate that Satan and his crew have not yet been locked up in chains in the abyss. In fact, I just thought of something. We know that during the 1,000-year reign, that's when Satan is locked up into the abyss. It's likely that then he will be locked up into the same abyss that the fallen angels were locked into for sinning with women. Just thought of that. But anyways, so it seems that he is not locked up yet, right? So is there anything else in the Bible that talks about if Satan is locked up yet, or if he's still out there roaming around? Well, John in the book of Revelation, he seems to indicate that Satan and his fallen angels are roaming in the universe. He seems to kind of indicate that. And he kind of alludes to such an idea in Revelation 12. In the book of Revelation, chapter 12, it describes a battle that will take place between the good and evil angels. And in this battle, Satan will end up losing his place in heaven or in the universe and will eventually be thrown down to the earth. Look at what it reads in Revelation 12:7. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. So here we see that Satan and his fallen angel crew were strong enough to even fight Michael, the archangel, and the good angels, but they were not strong enough. Look what it reads in the next verse. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. Verse 9. And then the great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. And as you read along here, you will see that after he is hurled to the earth, then it talks about how the Antichrist will begin to rule with the help of Satan. The beast will then rise. And so this is a very, very interesting passage here. Of course, as with all passages, there are many different interpretations and scholarly opinions on it. Some people believe that this battle between the angels of light and the angels of darkness has already happened. Some people believe it happened very recently. But again, you do have scholars who say that it hasn't happened yet, because we see in the passage that after Satan is defeated in this battle against the angels of light, and after Satan is thrown to the earth and loses his place in the heavenly realms, that then the Antichrist rises. And so by that logic, I do understand how some can argue that it seems as if this battle is something that will happen in the near future, right before the Antichrist starts to rule. And that might be a reason why it says that once Satan is thrown to the earth, it says he is filled with fury because he knows his time is short. And so this verse seems to indicate that the moment he is thrown down to the earth realm, that will be in the end times, because as it says, his time is short. And then soon after that, we see the rising of the beast and the Antichrist. And so what are your views on that? Do you see Revelation 12, the angelic battle there, as a future event? Or maybe you see it as symbolic, so there are many perspectives with that. But again, it does fit into the argument showing that Satan is not underground. The fallen angels are not underground. They are and always have been roaming the heavens, roaming the universe.